Hi, this is Mark. Congratulations. You have found this amazingly awesome show. Chances are you're listening to it right now on whether it's iTunes or Stitcher Radio or some other mobile app that allows you to stream this amazingly awesome show to your ear holes. And I can't stress how awesomely amazing this show really is. But did you know that you can also catch the latest episode of this show on the Tangibound Network? That's right. Go check out tangiboundnetwork.com. You can look them up and you can listen to it right there. It's even mobile friendly. What more could you ask for? Which means you can pull it up on your iPhone or your Android, even your Windows phone. Yeah, who has one of those? But still, point remains, you can do it. You can do it. Check it out, tangiboundnetwork.com. Listen to this show, the latest episode, every time. Check it out.
Welcome to the Wicked Radio Network.
Life sucks to the last drop. Are you gonna blow your head off? Take good aim and don't forget to duck. Life sucks every Monday and all the way to Sunday, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't care how you're doing, what's up or how's it hanging. I'd like to buy this world one last drink. Life sucks all of the time, stick it up your sunshine, and then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day.
Welcome to the Crazy Life, everyone. My name's Jen. I'm your hostess of the evening. Sorry I wasn't with everybody last week. Had a very, very busy weekend, and we'll talk about that a little bit more coming up. But in the meantime, let's say hi to the co-host. We have Brian and Henno. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hey, hey, hey.
Say hey, hey.
Thanks so much, you guys, for covering for me. I appreciate it. I'm so sure the audience does as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I can only imagine the fun you guys had.
None.
And interesting stuff. None?
No, we
no
were
fun?
No, we were all business last week.
Yeah,
All
some business.
Yeah.
You guys had your mullets on and everything, I bet.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We even wore suits while we did the show.
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
But they were facade suits.
Yes.
We were bare ass naked in the back.
Yes, yes.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
naturally.
we got them from
like any good business suit would be.
Right, we got them from funeral homes at a discount. You know.
Exactly.
Oh God.
Yeah.
You might say we were fronting.
Oh, boo. Boo. Oh.
Awful.
All right, I'm muting Henno's audio now.
It's awful.
Well, back to two hosts on the show.
Yeah.
Looks like we're going to have to get a new theme song, too. I'm removing everything of Henno off the show.
No.
He gone.
No. Not like he's Tate.
Blocked off of Facebook.
No. Tate still exists on Salty Language. She's mentioned on every episode.
Is she?
Yeah, she's in the theme song because Henno
She
is
is
like,
there,
yeah.
Oh,
Henno
yeah.
says, I still don't know who Tate is. Yeah.
Exactly. Nice. Well, so the reason I wasn't on the podcast last week is last weekend was my bachelorette, or I don't know, I can't even talk. They were my bridal showers. I had two of them. I think I've mentioned on the show before. My soon-to-be husband's family threw me one, which was wonderful, and my family threw me another one, which was also wonderful. I had a great time. I only got teary a couple times, which I'm very proud of myself. And a huge win is that I really didn't have a lot of kickback from it. My head actually stayed fairly straight the entire time, which I was not expecting at all. But so I enjoyed myself. I got a little hyper on the Sunday one. I think I was getting at my limits of people and being center of attention and socializing and stuff like that. And I'm sure there's also some sugar involvement in there because lots of cake and lots of yummy foods.
Right.
But
awesome.
but I kept the drinking to an absolute minimum. I only had a couple drinks the entire weekend, which I think also really helped. And I made sure that I was up to date on my medicine. I was taking it regularly like I'm supposed to, not skipping anything. So, and I was doing a lot of my mental techniques and practicing that type of stuff and my breathing. And so I was really trying to stay as focused as I possibly could at staying in the moment, enjoying while I was there, but also setting myself up for success in the days to come after. So
Nice.
I've had very little inner bully, which again was a big surprise for me. I thought for sure I'd be pretty much attacking myself, and that has really kept to a minimum. So I really was able to not self-analyze and, tear myself apart about things I've said and things I did and all that stuff, and be very critical of myself. So, but yeah, very tired. I've slept, as we've talked about, I sleep a lot, I slept a lot. But I've also, the entire weekend, I had my mom staying with me and my best friend came in from out of town. So I had a pretty good support system through the whole thing as well. And they knew what was going on and they were very supportive. And with my mom staying in the house, it's wonderful because I've got my support system right there to help out whenever I need, but you also don't have a lot of alone time.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit on the fence, like, how this is going to work. But again, I mean, I'm claiming this as a very big win for me. And in my battle, shall we say, with the bipolar is I was able to navigate a very full and difficult weekend for someone with bipolar and make it out in a fairly good position. So, but yeah, very proud of myself. Woohoo, Jen.
Nice.
Nice. Good. Very good. I was very curious how that was going to turn out. And it was funny because Monday I was going to text you and I was like, I'm just going to wait for the show and kind of find out how, it all went, because obviously you were going to talk about it here. So, I'm glad because, with the work stuff and whatever else, it doesn't take a whole lot. A lot of times, and a lot of people don't realize that even when you are even keeled, especially when you have, well, for anybody, honestly, but even when we're dealing with, these mental illnesses, it doesn't take a lot. A pebble can really, you take a scale, a pebble can make those scales look like they're severely imbalanced, when in truth those weights are almost the same kind of a thing, and it doesn't take a whole lot. And this was more than just a pebble. I mean, this is a significant, could have been a significant weight change for, your mental health here. So I'm glad you came through it. I'm glad there was nothing. I mean, there shouldn't be anything that was really, other than it just being you putting that stress on yourself in going into it kind of a thing. This should be a fun situation. It's about celebrating what's coming up. But how many stories has everyone heard about somebody, something going not wrong, but, just someone not behaving themselves or, whatever. So I'm glad it turned out well, or they turned out well, I should say.
And it really did. And I had to give a speech, kind of, a thank you speech at each one. And, I did really well. I mean, I didn't overthink it, and I didn't I didn't attack myself afterwards. Even like my mom recorded them and played them back for me. And I started going negative and I just stopped myself. I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not tearing myself apart on these things.
Good.
I don't care if I said the wrong word there. I don't care if my voice was a little too high pitched or maybe I was too loud or if I, said something wrong or forgot to say. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to let myself take something that was fun and I enjoyed it and it's a beautiful memory for me. I'm not going to destroy it by overthinking it and blowing myself up. I'm not going to do it.
Nice.
And I'm sticking to it. So every time I start going down those paths, I'm like, no, you're not. The disease is not taking this one from me.
There you go. Yep. That's
this is mine. I'm not letting it take it from me.
That's a big win right there. Yeah. That's a big moment of recognizing and reclaiming,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That you not only caught it as it was happening, but you wrestled it back. That you didn't just, catch it afterwards, as I've mentioned so many times as we've talked, how I don't recognize something's happened until I'm well past it and been like, man, it's like, well, hopefully next time I'll catch it, kind of a thing. Like you caught it as it was happening. We're like, no, I'm not giving you this one, and this is mine.
Yeah, that's mine.
Yeah. I'm the princess. Mine. Do you know who I am? Positive narcissism.
Perfect.
Narcissism.
I got one of our comments each in that.
There you go. Positive
narcissism. Exactly.
Yep.
All these people are bringing gifts to me.
Yeah.
My day,
this is mine.
my way.
Yep.
Mine. But I will say it was very overwhelming, but overwhelming in a very good way, and it was really nice. Kind of weird though, I will say. The odd part about the whole thing is it's almost like it kind of is a flashback to when you're a kid opening presents and everyone's watching you. And so as you're in, but nobody, it's a birthday almost because, no one else is getting gifts. Only you get gifts and everyone's watching you open your gifts.
Yeah.
And it's that awkward moment where you're trying to open a gift and everyone's eyes are on you. So I was throwing in anecdotes. Anecdotes. Anecdotes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Antidotes is
like,
funnier.
I'm not saying this right.
Antidotes is funniest because it's like you poisoned everyone and you're like, if your gift is good, you get to get something from that table. And everyone waits with bated breath. 40 entered.
Good, you get the cure.
Yeah. How many will leave? This is a great idea. I actually think this is the future of bridal showers. Everyone comes in, you hand them a drink, and then go, I've poisoned you all. If your gifts are good, you get to get the antidote.
Wow.
How many will leave?
But so I was getting, so I kept telling little stories about, why I picked the gift that, that I'm opening or whatever, why this was on my registry or something that happened while we were getting it or something about the person that gave it to me. And so I was kind of doing that to entertain people and stuff. And so, again, it's, I'm still struggling with, you can probably even already hear it. It's I'm still struggling with the did I say the right things? Did I do the right things? Did I not? And I'm trying my best. I'm holding it at bay. I'm no, not going to do it. Not going to take myself apart. So.
Yeah. And the truth is you did. You absolutely said all the right things. You said everything you were supposed to say. You didn't say anything wrong. And the reason I can honestly say that is because it's already done and over with.
Yeah.
That's it. You said exactly what you thought you were going to say at the time. You said it and it's passed. And then if it turns out that it was something you shouldn't have said, well, then you'll make it right when the time is right. I mean, that's really all you can do going forward. There's really nothing else you can do.
Exactly.
But you're right. It is the hardest part is not beating yourself up over it because I can't remember what it is, and I wish I would have written it down. There's an actual, and I didn't even know this, there's an actual term for that whole thing. Like the whole, when you sit down and visual or imagine conversations, like, well, if they say this, I'll say this, and then I'll say, those kind of things. There's an actual term for all of that. And someone posted it on Instagram one night, and I was like, I didn't even know there was a term for that. Like, it makes sense. There should be. There's, generally a word for about everything. And, yeah, and I was like, I just years and years and years of dealing with that. And it's one of the hardest things, and it always has been. I know for you, Jen, and for me, I don't know if Henno, I think you've said you've done this too at times, but I know me and Jen both have beaten ourselves up unmercifully with it, because did I say the right thing? Or if tomorrow I go in and they say this, I'm going to this. And like, I do it all the time. I'll prep myself for stuff weeks in advance or a week in advance. Like, oh, well, I'm going to do this weekend. And if they say this, then not in a negative way, but even, it's nuts. It's horrible.
It's almost like we're, what are those people called? The survivalists? The ones that over prep for the world's end and zombie apocalypses and stuff.
Yeah.
It's almost like we do that for life in general.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
It's like, we're the ones standing at the edge of life with our swimmies on and, and extra flotation devices just in case.
Yeah.
Because we try to be so prepared that, nothing's going to go wrong. Everything's going to be great. We got everything controlled.
You're 100% right. That really is what it is. I mean, you're carrying a wall with you. Mm-hmm. Or like you use the swimmies or whatever as an example. It is. It absolutely is. It's, hey, I'm going to go dive in deep waters tomorrow. I better wear extra swimmies because, just in case. And it's like, you can swim. Like, oh, no, I know. But I got to, I'm going to put these extra flotation things on because I'm going to make sure that I don't drown. It's like, all right. Sure.
Right. It doesn't make sense, but that's kind of what we do.
Yeah.
But, so I guess that was my weekend of sorts. And how about you guys? I heard there's some news on the horizon.
Yeah, I went to therapy yesterday. Oh, no.
Right, Brian, you got some sandals, I heard?
Yeah, they're, no.
Some new sandals?
Yeah. They're amazing. No, I'll go. Yeah, I actually, I had therapy yesterday, and again, it was one of those where I've been going once a week. I've been doing we've been scheduling way out, and part of it is so that, there's less of a chance that, she books up. So that she's like, okay, well, let's schedule. Oh, I don't have any appointments open, so there's zero chance or almost no chance of that, which is awesome. Because, the way I've been the last few weeks, I've really needed my therapy. I've looked forward to that. And it's weird, I've been on the medicine that I'm on a little longer now, and my depression is still not good. It's not really gotten better, but it also hasn't gotten worse. So that part of it's, good that it seems level. I wish it would improve, but I just think this is just kind of a long-term funk I'm in. And I think it's just, just going to have to ride it out. And that's what I've kind of been doing. And I think this last week I've been putting a little less pressure on me. I think the last couple weeks I've been trying to find a reason for it and to try to find a way out. And I think this week a little more, I've been like, you know what? It's just what it is. And kind of a little more accepting. And, it's funny. I'm going through the stages of grief. I was in a little denial and now, now I'm accepting it and,
interesting.
Yeah. But I went in yesterday and we talked a little about that. And then I went into some stuff that, I hadn't really gone into with her before, and I'm not going to really get into here, but some really kind of deep stuff that I've been hanging on to. And man, I walked outside, and I've said on here countless times that I've always felt like the best therapy sessions are the ones you walk out, similar to walking out of a gym, where you feel that fatigue, but you're like, I really went after it. Like I really just exhausted myself, but it's the best kind of exhausted, And I walked out and I was just drained. I was just emotionally drained coming out of it. And it was a gorgeous day here yesterday. It was just, the sun was out. It was kind of cool. It wasn't hot. It was just really nice. Aside from, as soon as I walked outside, I sneezed like 40 times. But, like, aside from the allergens, it was just, I walked outside and I took a picture. I put it up on my, like, Instagram and Snapchat. And I was like, two kind of pictures in a row where I'm kind of like smiley. And I was like, you know what? I was like, today's a gorgeous day and I'm just kind of in it, And I walked out and I felt just, there wasn't room in me because I had gotten so much stuff out of me, almost so much stuff out of me that I was so drained that I just didn't even feel any negativity in me. You know what I mean? Like I had gotten all of it. I felt like out of me at that moment. So I actually felt like I was kind of just there. You know what I mean? Like there was no looking back. There was no looking forward. I wasn't negative. I wasn't necessarily positive either, but I was just there. And right there, it was a gorgeous day and I felt all right. And I took that picture because I was like, I'm going to capture right now. Because right now is all right. And, I'm going to capture my win, basically, And for the first time in weeks, I was kind of like, this is an all right spot. And even though a matter of a few hours later, I was back to not feeling great and I was kind of down and, all of it it all comes back, It's kind of like, you stand out if you stand in the water, at one point you look down and you see your feet and there's no real water over them. And then you can look down a few minutes later and you can't see your ankles. You know what I mean? And then and that's kind of the thing. It's that, but at that moment I was just like, yeah, I'm good. But then it came back, but I was just like, it was okay for that moment. And that's the kind of therapy session I had yesterday. And it was just great to finally, and I don't know why I've been holding some of that stuff back, because my intent in therapy has always been go in, get it all out, dig all the way to your toes, basically, just whatever's in you, whatever you have to root around and pull out in the end of it is get it all out. But it was just nice, to walk out like that, even like after I posted a couple things, my best friend Tony sent me a text and was like, wow, you seem like you're in a good mood. Like, that's how different I seemed. You know what I mean? Like, he was like, what the heck? So, and I was like, yeah, really good therapy session. I just was feeling really strong walking out of there. And it was just, and it's funny because all I did was just get the stuff out of me. It wasn't that I had any new game plan. Walking out of there, I still felt every bit as the same emotions. Like I knew, like the situation hasn't changed. She didn't offer really any new strategies. It was just, I think it just felt so cathartic, maybe to just get it out, to say it to someone else. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So obviously awesome. That's my win for the week. It was just. Again, it was one of those few times where I was able to live in a moment. And it was a moment, but it was just, Jen, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It was very similar to when we were in Florida and I was looking out at the water. It was another one of those moments. And they're so far and few for me. But so when they're there, I, grab them with everything I have.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. That's fabulous. That's so wonderful.
Yeah. And it was, yesterday was like for about an hour, I'd say I had a good day for an hour.
You know what? That's huge. That is a huge win. And then, maybe someday those hours can turn into 2 hours or longer.
Yeah.
But for now, an hour is amazing, and take it and run with it.
Yeah. So one other thing,
really-
really. Sorry, go ahead, Henno.
I was just gonna say, it just reminds me of whenever I'm in that place, I feel like I'm in a place of neutrality.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it
There's
was.
nothing. Yeah, and I've started to recognize that more. Yeah, I realize it more often, and I realize that that is when I'm probably the most calm, and like you said, the most in that particular moment. Actually, experiencing my feelings or experiencing whatever it is. There's this and a lot of this comes with the idea of for me as an alcoholic, I want to be in this place where I don't push it away and I'm not drawn to it. I'm just neutral to it.
Yeah.
And I like being that way with my emotions too. I just have a better chance. I'm going to have a better moment, time, whatever it is, when I'm in that place of this feeling of neutrality.
Mm-hmm.
Where I know I'm not talking myself into the way I'm feeling, and I'm also not fearful.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you described it dead on. I even sometimes get that way when I come out of a movie that just was really like, wow, that was great. Where I just feel good.
Yeah.
Like I'm not hype and I'm not, pissed off, whatever. It's just, I think it's a good sign, because one of the things that that I've learned in the last 10 years is a really, like, actually focusing on the feelings that work for me is learning to recognize those feelings and not necessarily hunt for them, but to be open for them. Like to kind of become aware of those types of feelings, and then realize, oh, well, this is an activity that makes me feel this way, so I'm going to keep doing that one.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Versus this feeling doesn't get me to that point, so I'm going to stop doing that.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. It's that's why I said it was just so nice, and I even told my therapist it. Like it just, after I went through that stuff, and I was like, it just feels so good to get this out of me, and to just say it, it's amazing how sometimes just saying stuff can make you feel so much lighter, it's this, because depression is so heavy. Anytime you can lighten your burden, you should, as far as like with the words and stuff. And again, as long as it's not directly harmful to someone else or yourself. Let me put those boundaries, I guess, on it, because I don't want you to harm someone else in the process, or yourself. But, like in therapy or a group or something like that, or best friend, whatever it is, just if you can lighten those. But again, saying stuff in therapy, as I've said before, it's just so different, because it's just that safe place. It's just that, there's whatever you say in there is just there. It's no different in ways, I think, than if you said it just to the wind, essentially, but it's just having that other person there. It's, it's so weird. But, excuse me. And, yeah, so like I said, and it was awesome, because much like Jen, I recognized it right then. It wasn't today I recognized that moment. It was right then. I walked outside, and I was like I said, I walked outside and was like, I have to take a picture of myself right now. And it wasn't like, oh, I got a selfie. It was like, I want a picture of this, because I want this moment. And that was my head, where I was at in my head, is I have to take a picture of this moment, because I'm keeping it in my phone, because in my head, it's that I can reference the moment. Just like visually, I can reference Chicago, because it was that aha moment of what we went through, like that's so if I start collecting my moments of wins and my aha moments, next thing you know, I've got a whole file of wins that every time depression goes, you suck, you can't, I could go, baloney, I've got a whole file of proof that says I can.
Yep, I did.
Yeah, this precedent has been set that you're not right. So now I can start changing the logic of my brain. And this is how you start winning. And
that's awesome.
And that's why this is important. So it isn't about vanity or narcissism. And if it is, it's positive narcissism. So, yeah.
Well, it's self-care, which is the right kind of selfish. So.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's so awesome.
Yeah. And one other thing really quick I wanted to mention, kind of on the aha moment thing, was I was watching a show on Netflix called Lady Dynamite, which is a Maria Bamford show where she talks about her, she addresses like having bipolar and how it's affected her career, which I thought was interesting because, you know, it's someone in Hollywood that is approaching mental illness and she's wanting to change the stigma of how it's looked at. And, you know, I mentioned on Salty Language a little bit, it's a little tough though, because in the end though, it still needs to be funny. So I think the only problem that you always have with this is, as much as I love that it's, hey, let's address a mental illness, in the end, when there's a lot of moments that are very raw and I look at and go, wow, you know, because I've known people, I've seen things, I've read things, but at the same time, there's still some moments in there where they inject a little humor because they don't want it to be too heavy, you know? Mm-hmm. And you go, because it's like that line, you know, where do you draw the line of funny and we're changing the stigma? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want people to laugh at mental illness. I want people to understand the severity of it. I don't necessarily want them to laugh at it because it's already been laughed at. That's the negative stigma. But they don't really laugh at it, but there's moments where that line's still a little blurry, but we're getting there. So, but anyway, that wasn't what I wanted to talk about real quick. The moment from the show is she goes through something and it's awful, right? And she's just like, oh no, this happened and this happened and this happened. And I can't remember if there's like, she's visually, like there's a visual manifestation of something, like her dog or something is talking to her, or if it's something along those lines. Mm-hmm. But basically, whatever it is, looks at her and goes, I think it's a friend of hers in the show, is basically like, yeah, the worst thing happened, and there you are. Like, you're still standing there. You know, basically, much like my moment in Chicago, like, I looked at Heno and was like, the worst thing that I imagined happened exactly as I told you last night. And here I am. And I was like, I love that aha moment, because that kind of moment is so important for people to experience and see. And I love that they showed that, because it's such a moment that once you experience it, you can go, I can do this. And once you have that, like I was just saying, once you start that file, look out, world, because you might be on your comeback, you know? And
absolutely. No might about it. You are on your comeback.
Yeah. So there we go.
Awesome. Heno, how was your week been?
It's been a really great week. In a lot of ways. So the big news is that I am now engaged.
Woo-hoo!
And not engaged in I don't know. I got nothing funny there. In the literal term of this, it was we had a great weekend. I don't think Sharon had any idea what I had planned.
Nice.
And to be honest, I wasn't nervous about it at all. I just hoped that I chose a good moment.
Right.
That's all that really mattered to me. I had in my head a kind of a vision of what I hoped would happen, and it did.
Awesome.
So we rented a little cabin up in it's a town called Stanley. It's up in the Sawtooth Mountains. So if you're curious where that is in Idaho, there's a bunch of lakes up there, and you know, like here we are. You know, it was 80 degrees, but there's still snow, you know, on these peaks, and people actually will go and ski on them, you know, sometimes this type of year. It's a really neat contrast. And Stanley is actually can be one of the coldest places in the lower 48, even colder than North Dakota at times, it's a really odd, little fact. But it's a beautiful little town, and we stayed in the cabin the first night, and then we'd rented a canoe in here. And so we took the canoe up there because we've gone paddle boarding, and it's like, let's try this instead. So we threw the dogs in the canoe, which was fun, and we're just cruising around the lake. And my kind of hope was that at some point that we'd be in the middle of the lake, kind of just not sitting on either ends of the canoe, but in the middle of the canoe together. And it just kind of happened. Oh, and nice. It was really cool. The fun part was having that, it maybe lasted all of 30 seconds of like, what did I just do?
I just changed my life permanently. What the heck?
Like this crazy fear, but you know what it was? It's seriously old tape playing. Yeah. It's old tape in my head.
Yeah.
That still hasn't been 100% erased yet. And so the fact that that was it, I have not felt that for a minute since then. So, I've shared a lot on, this podcast and a lot of other podcasts that I have a lifetime of avoiding commitments. But it's been in sobriety that I've learned that the paradox of it is that when I do make a commitment, I end up actually being more free, not less free. Mm-hmm. And it is proven to be true time and time again. And a lot of that does come down to what, we were sharing a little, you guys were talking about earlier, where you get into your head and you try to control things. Well, we try to control things that we feel we don't have control over. Right? So something in us says, well, I'm going to control this. I'm going to play out the conversation before I have it. We have no idea what the other person is going to respond. But for some reason we do this. I do this all the time. Mm-hmm. And I realize that the more I commit to things, even if it's just my attitude or how I'm going to go through the day, the less I do that, because what do I have to, I don't have to control it. It's okay. It's done, And so a lot of my lifetime, I think, fear and anxiety was based out of that.
Well, plus how many times do you have that, well, they're going to say this, blah, 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 and it never plays out the way you have it in your head, or rarely. Sometimes it does.
That way.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you sit there and you spend all this time, and I think I did that a lot in life, future casting, this and that, and I just never really realized what it meant to commit to something, because I didn't really understand what that meant to me. Mm-hmm. It's about finding my own truth. So at any rate, I had that, and that's for me my huge win. Like seriously, it was like maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Haven't thought about it since then. Now, what's been fun and also hard is now sharing that with with Sharon, where she suddenly walks in and she's like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. Or we had she had one of her lifetime, one of her childhood friends that passed away last year, and Danny's husband, Aaron, came over with the kids, and Sharon was at a town council meeting, so she wasn't here, but they had flowers, and it's basically like, Danny would have taken this whole day off to be with you, to spend the day, that kind of a thing. And that was kind of sad, because it's like, it hurts, she said it really hurts her that she's not here. And I also thought she was also talking about her parents, because her parents are no longer around. And I understand the feeling, because it makes it harder. I can't understand it.
Yeah.
But I also feel it myself in my own way. It's like, as much as my family can be there for me, I want her family to be there for her. Mm-hmm. And that includes very close friends, and this one isn't going to be there. So it's been fun, just the for myself, once again, that feeling of neutrality. Just knowing that I'm exactly where I need to be right now. I was going to say the right place, but that's not I can't know what the right place is.
Yeah.
I just know I'm in exactly the right place right now. I'm exactly where I need to be. Mm-hmm. So on the converse of that is, there are some things right now that are in kind of limbo in my life. And I've been, sharing about it on this show, about just uncertainty, some fears, what's happened this week is because of my good buddy Mo, dying. They're going to have a celebration of life on Sunday, and our band got together for the first time in 3 years.
Wow.
And I sang with Danae for the first time in 3 years. And we're gonna play again tomorrow, and I think I might Periscope some of it. She's just got the most amazing voice. I mean, it's just beautiful. But I always had a lot of fear because of her talent.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not worthy kind of stuff.
Oh, right.
Like,
yeah.
you're that good. Why are you playing with me? Kind of stuff.
Right.
Total classic self-esteem stuff, right? But it was, we were just working on one song, and it's like, it's a song that I've been playing on my own for a while now, so I have learned to have my own part in it, and we sing harmonies in it. And she went right to what she's hearing in her head, and it was like we had these two voices kind of. There was nothing wrong with either voice. We were both doing our own things, but it was such a trip as suddenly this like. The only way I can describe it is my hand motion is like, there's a pattern going off here randomly to the left and one kind of going to the right. And then all of a sudden they just came together and just locked in.
Ah, nice.
Tight, right next to each other. Our voices were all of a sudden, oh yeah, that's it. After 3 years, like, boom, we just, and that is something that I don't know if I've ever had that in my lifetime, where on an artistic level, we just have that. It's synchronicity. It's boom right there. And we stopped, and I was like, wow, so that is, I needed this. I needed a reminder of what music is for me, and that it's important, and it can take any form. It doesn't have to go the way I would like it to go. It can go any way, and I'm going to be fine. And so it kind of took some of the pressure off myself a little bit.
Yeah.
By doing that, and to just relax, and once again remind myself I'm exactly where I need to be right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's all I need to do. I continue to sell stuff, and it's like wow, I need a PA system now. But I'm like, hey, can you bring this? So and so, can you bring that? And it's not. I just feel really. That's why I say it's a good week. It's a good week because I'm just comfortable. I'm in the space, and I'm doing the next indicated thing. It's like boom, engagement done. Okay, let's set the date. So it'll be official this weekend on the Dark Angels and Pretty Freaks podcast. I will be making the official announcement because that's my buddy Neil's podcast.
Right.
Sure.
Whatever. I'm putting this up tonight. We're beating them to the punch.
Exactly.
No, I do have to ask, how do you feel about playing live for the first time since you've kind of come to terms with stepping away from music?
Because it's the nature of the gig. So if this was going up and doing the thing that I really wanted to do and have chosen not to, which is literally going up with a full band, drums, bass, electric guitar, all that stuff, that would be weird. This is Cal Says Moo is an acoustic band. We did acoustic covers.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
It can be as mellow as we want it to be. It can be as raucous as we want it to be, but it's still acoustic. Yes, it's amplified, but it's a totally different deal. Like when we were rehearsing, I mean, I can hear myself singing over the PA system. That's I'm not pushing the volume levels. And so, that part of it is not, it's not going to be an issue. One of the hard parts also is Danae's mother died basically the year. Yeah, the winter after we stopped playing, last time we played together, a year after that. And so she hasn't performed since then either. And like Lenny and Mo were seriously two of our biggest fans, and they're no longer here.
Oh, wow.
And like, it's been like, I've been doing a really good job of staying out of it, but like today was the obituary in the paper, and I was just like, it was so beautifully written, and I was just like, oh, the feels.
Right. Sure, yeah.
I was like, okay,
Now, let me ask you this, Hanno. Have you ever done this kind of musical performance for, like, a friend who's died or anything of that regard?
Yeah, I never have.
Sorry if I just threw a bunch of pressure on you. I'm just curious.
No,
Okay.
I haven't. And here's the thing. What I know for Danae, this might be hard, but like we were talking about, she's like, I told her, I said, I just have this overwhelming sense of duty.
Yeah.
That is helping me just keep going. And she's like, that's how I feel too.
Yeah.
The thing about it is Mo celebrated life
Right.
every day. So that's all I have to do. I have to celebrate him. And that, if this was, like I asked Becca, I talked to, Becca last Monday, his wife, and I was just like, are you doing any, she's an amazing woman. And I said, are you doing any presentation, any speeches? And she's like, nope.
Yeah.
We're getting 3 kegs, maybe 4. There's going to be no wine served because it just gave him heartburn. And the only reason he would wake up the next morning feeling like crap, like, why do I feel like, oh, you're drinking, why was I drinking my, oh, we ran out of beer, so you started drinking my wine. Why do you let me do this? So it's like, they can go inside to the bar and buy, he worked for the local liquor distributor. So he did the deliveries for his Hayden Beverage. So they're bringing like 3 kegs to this thing. I mean, the idea is this is going to be a party.
Sure.
This is about in that regard. So, I don't quite have that type of pressure.
Okay.
If it was the other way around,
that's why I was curious. Yeah.
Because I've done weddings.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've played guitar while somebody walked down the aisle. Now there's guitar players that do this every day.
Yeah. I
don't. That's a level of this is someone's once in a lifetime moment.
Right. If you screw up, it messes it up. Yeah.
I'm just like, why am I doing this?
There's no playing, missing something, going, wait, hold on. Cut. Yeah, cut.
Wait. Yeah. Stay right there. Like, because we were playing the reception. They're like, hey, do you think, how much would it cost if you actually played something? And I was just like, oh, Lord.
Yeah.
But the same thing would go. Like, I mean, I've done accompaniment at various parties and this and that, but nothing like a memorial service. I mean, that's just a different level. You know, it's like, whoo.
I know. Every time I see somebody do that, it always, like my niece died about a year ago, and at her service, these 2 got up and, a guy played guitar and this girl sang, what was it, Amazing Grace, I think it was, or whatever it was. And I was just blown away. I'm like, I know they aren't like family or whatever, but it's still the ability to just go up and do that in a room full of people who are just sad and crying and all that emotion around you. It's like to not soak that in and not break down potentially yourself in any way. It's like, ooh, like I think I would have a hard time doing it. Like if I were playing guitar or something, I'd probably have to close my eyes while I was playing, so I'm not like, seeing everybody, crying like that or whatever, because it'd be a rough go, like, man. So yes. And if you knew people well, I don't even know how, I wouldn't be able to do it for sure.
Exactly. I mean, you're right. It's just a whole nother level. But I mean, I think it speaks so clearly to where you're at with everything that you're not holding yourself to some made up standards that you decreed. You made the decision not to play music for now, and this came up, and instead of saying, no, I told myself when playing music, I'm not going to play, instead of getting caught in that, you're allowing yourself to just feel through this and say, you know what, this isn't the same thing. This isn't what I was trying to get away from. And this is not going to derail my progress and what I'm hoping to achieve. This is only going to support myself and make myself stronger in my convictions and grow myself. So, that's huge. So often we make these decrees in our lives that I am no longer going to do this, or I'm going to stop doing this, and this will never happen again. We make these cemented decrees, and when we can't meet them, then it's all this other emotion, or something comes along and we have to force ourselves not to do something that we want to do because we made this stupid decree way back when, and we said we would never ever do this. So now this great opportunity comes around and we have to tell them no because we're standing in our own way. I mean, it's how we manipulate ourselves and how we fool ourselves into thinking this false sense of control. And the fact that you were able to kind of look at that and look at it in the face and say, you know what, that's not the point. That wasn't the point of what I was saying, what I was trying to do. And this does not fit into that mold. This is something different. I think that's really great.
You echoed exactly what I was thinking in my head is this, talking about old tape and old patterns. I tend as a, I'm naturally a people pleaser, so I have tended to say yes too often, and then get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And so then you sit there and say, okay, now I'm doing self-care. I'm going to say no, and you become as rigid there. And for me, life is not about rigid. Life is about flexibility. It's about balance. It's about, we've talked about neutrality. It's about, this whole show has been about control. It really has, the more I think about it. It's about letting go of control and just living life as it is presented to you. Just because I do something in the next couple of weeks does not change the long-term plans. They are not mutually exclusive. They can occur at the same time. Yep. And there's nothing wrong with that, and that's to me, that's adulting,
Yeah, right.
That's adulting behavior.
Yeah, that's plus, like you said, you're not living in black and white. You're living in the gray because, again, that's where most of life happens, is in the gray area. It's not in black or white. Like saying, I'm not going to play, live stuff ever again. It's like, or not ever again, but I'm not going to play live stuff. That puts it directly, like Jen said, that's that firm decree that's in the black area. And it's like, well, hold on. Or like you said, you're either the people pleaser, which is the white area, essentially, like I'm going to say yes to everyone, or the black, which would be I'm going to say no to everyone. And it's like, well, there's no reason why occasionally like this is a, like, this is the, like, final favor for a friend, or it's a favor for a friend, meaning his wife, or however you want to look at it, and it's like, this isn't a gig, this isn't you just, hey, Henno, do you want to, we want you to play at the local bar or something. And you're like, I'd really rather not, cause it messes with, like, but even if you did, that's your choice, the world isn't going to end because you decide to play a gig somewhere.
And the main thing about these types of decisions, and we do this all the time, especially when we're talking about whether it's a health program, a mental health program, a recovery program, or whatever it is, it's this all or nothing type of thinking that we do.
It's totally
and like,
is.
I blew it this week, so screw it, it's done, it's over. It's like, no, tomorrow's another day. Just this is why this day at a time concept works. It's like tomorrow's just another day. It's no longer than the day before, no shorter. There's no more or less value on it. Yeah. But we tend to put so much value on these things, and we beat ourselves up, and it causes us to not progress because we feel for some reason we have to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like we can't be successful unless we do this perfectly. And I'm sorry, but I have never been perfect. I will never be perfect. I accept it now, and that's my life. It ain't perfect, Right. And so, and like Danae, Danae's been my inspiration with this because she has typically been the one that has kind of wanted the ducks in a row. She's not really good with the metal left field kind of thing, and she has taken this whole thing in stride. Now, I think this might have to do with the fact that she had twins. And they're about 2.5 years old.
Wow.
Are you saying she's looking for a break?
No, I think she's accepted that life ain't perfect.
Yeah.
You don't have much control.
Yeah.
Nothing works out like you thought it was going to. I mean, she has a different, even just being around her, her sense of kind of calm, it's so much different because it's like, I can't even imagine two kids the exact same age, just like,
Yeah.
Right. It's crazy.
But to kind of finish this off, my whole week has been a carryover of these concepts, and it's been really neat because I was throwing a bit of a pity party for myself. That was causing me to choose to sit on the couch rather than get something done. It was choosing me to, to take easier routes because poor me. And what this has kind of done, it just once again, it's like a slow attitude adjustment. I am getting up. And I am doing, I need to rehearse. I need to find this. I need to find that. And like what I found in my life is that usually carries over into other aspects of it. So that's why I said feeling good right now, exactly where I need to be.
Listen, let me point something out too. And this is, Henno knows exactly what I'm going to mean by this. So I hope everyone else understands. Is we've said on here, Henno likes to say sometimes life lifes you. And life lifed you by taking your friend from you. Right? But by life lifing you, as we've said before, everything that happens is an opportunity. And you've taken it because the opportunity that it's now afforded you is you've gotten back to, your doing music with Danae, which you haven't done in a long time. And the opportunity is that it's helped you get out of your pity party. And again, I'm in no way, and I in no way am being disrespectful or making light of a friend dying or being taken from his loved ones. But you've instead looked for the inspiration that could come from it. And so there you go. And now you could have just as easily gone the opposite way. People could take it and run the other way and, do the, just use it as a reason to stay on the couch. Why
what's
bother?
The point?
What's the point? He was young. Why should I bother this and this? Tomorrow I could be dead. Yeah, absolutely. That's the reason to get off your butt and go live. That's,
It's true. And what do we, when these topics come up all the time, we talk about, loss of loved ones and that kind of thing. What is the one thing we hear is like, oh, well, what would you want, your loved ones to do? Well, I don't want them to just, suck into a hole and stop living. I want them to do something with this.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it is I am doing Mo. I am honoring Mo and the way he lived his life because he wants nothing more than, all right. I'm going to drop this one on you guys. So Becca on Thursday and Friday went off on her own up into the mountains, same area where Sharon and I were over the weekend, and went to the campsites and the places that her and Mo used to go together and went up there and did some reflection. And I just sat there and I was like, wow. Alone with your thoughts, doing some reflection in places like that. And I'm just like, whoo, like,
that's some strength.
I'll be honest.
Yeah, that's,
listen, if a friend of mine told me they were going to do that, I'd probably be like, tell you what, I'm going with you just in case. Because that
and her
sounds...
sister, one of her, yeah. Doesn't that sound crazy?
I mean, in all honesty, that sounds like something where somebody, like, that's someone that's like, well, okay, and if they insist, it's like, well, we need to have a conversation first. Because I need to make sure you satisfy that you're not going to, that you're coming back. And I'm not saying that in any.
No.
I'm not trying to be funny. Yeah.
No. Yeah. And one of her sisters met her up there the next day, and they spent some time together and all that kind of stuff. And I guess she's just surrounded by amazing people. But when I heard that, I went, "Wow, that's somebody that's got some inner strength that I don't have."
Yeah, that's some massive inner strength. That's crazy strength.
Yeah, because most people don't want to be left alone. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why it made me kind of sit there. And another thing that I think I would like to take out of this is, Sharon, when she lost her parents, she said the hardest part was when all of a sudden all the people are gone, the memorial services are over, and it's just you and your thoughts.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen to Becca is all the, everyone's going to be gone. Everyone has to go back to their lives, and she's alone with their thoughts. And it's like, yeah, but she's not. I'm here. Other friends are here. I can get to know her better.
Yeah.
I can be there, and for when that time comes. And she even said it to me. She's like, I know I'm probably in a certain level of complete denial here, because he walked out the door. He never came back. Somewhere maybe inside of me, I'm thinking he's going to come back.
Absolutely.
I know it's going to hit me at some point. I just don't know when.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. And I would.
Wow.
Well, they say the strongest buildings in the world are not the ones that stand rigid and tall. They're the ones that flex and move with the earth.
Yeah.
And that's
have it.
That's engineering right there. There's science for you, people.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's
science.
Yep. That's some science.
Yep.
So, that's what the strongest buildings, they move and they flex with the world and the earth around them.
Yeah.
So
control here's the thing, letting go of control does not mean that everything falls apart. And that's the thing, that human nature, we want to hold it together. And you just made the greatest analogy ever. What happens when you build something too rigid? It can crumble, it can break, but when you give it some breathing room and some space, as we should do with our loved ones and our relationships and with ourselves, we can bend in the wind further than we'd ever imagined and get through it all.
Yeah.
Yep. Bounce right back.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe even a little prettier for some of the scars we get along the way.
Yeah.
It's just a little golf cut.
That was a good analogy.
Thank you. So with that, I think we're pretty close to an hour, aren't we?
Yep.
So I think we've had a fabulously full episode of a lot of positive, awesome wins from all three of us. So with a self-satisfied grin that I think we all should share, for a really great week being lived. So hopefully everybody out there in the audience can share those grins with us and share some of your own self-satisfying grins and stories. We'd love to hear from you. Let's continue the conversation. You can reach out to me on Twitter at Jen's Crazy Life, and that's Jen with a G. You can also reach us at the Crazy Life Podcast at Outlook.com with emails. You can reach us on our website at thecrazylifepodcast.weebly.com. And you, Brian, or actually, let's go with Henno. Henno, how can we reach you?
I'm the easy one. Find me on Twitter at Ida Henno. You can find me on Facebook. Look up Henno. Look up my band. If you it's funny. I have had people find me on Facebook by looking up the band. Like They found CakeFaceJane.com, and because of that, they found or they found Cal Says Moo or that kind of stuff. So, and also I still have some of my music shenanigans on SoundCloud at Monkey Tongue Productions.
Awesome.
Nice.
And you, Brian?
You can also find the show on Twitter at the Crazy Life Pod, where I post when new episodes go up, and occasionally I throw up a link or something, that's relevant to either something we've talked about or just little snippets that I find that are interesting. You can find me on Twitter at Stunami. You can find the other podcast I'm on, Salty Language, at salty_language on Twitter or at saltylanguage.com. You can check out my blog, which I still haven't updated for a couple weeks because I forgot, at stunami.wordpress.com. You can check out the show's Facebook group at facebook.com/group/crazylifepodcast. So come join us over there. I need to post stuff over there. I keep forgetting that too. Let's see. There was something else I was going to mention and I forgot. Oh, and if you join the group, there's a file over there that has a bunch of links for if you need help or places you can go for resources. If you need help finding a therapist or different stuff like that can help you. A bunch of just numbers and websites and stuff that I've kind of collected as I've come across them. Also, we're part of the Tangent Bound Network, and you can find that at tangentboundnetwork.com. And we're also part of the Wicked Radio Network, ran by that bum dev over at wickedradionetwork.com. And one other thing is, before I get into the other spiel stuff, however it is you find us, whether it's iTunes or Stitcher or whatever you use, please share us, review, rate, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, because it helps other people find us. It helps bump us up in their algorithms and whatnot. So like I said, other people can find our show, and that's a great help to us. And then, of course, now the other stuff that you hear every week, which is we're not doctors, attorneys, lawyers, like I just said, or therapists of any kind. We're just three people sharing our experiences. So we ask you, please don't self-diagnose. If you think you need help, please seek out professional help. And again, there's a bunch of resources on the Facebook page to help you find a therapist if money's a concern. NAMI.org is a great one that helps people. They've got things on there that can help you, find therapists that maybe have sliding scales, or whatever. So, please check those things out, or contact your Department of Human Services, or there's a lot of great resources in states. Just, please find help if you need it. Please don't do it on your own. And then, of course, if you are feeling suicidal, please contact the suicide hotline or suicide prevention hotline number, or text 741-741 and talk to someone. Call 911, tell them you're having a mental health emergency, or talk to someone if you have a support system, talk to someone in that. But please don't be alone. And of course, please do not act on your thoughts. And again, if you realize that you're planning suicide, if you're going through the process of planning it, please contact somebody, because that's a giant red flag. Also, contact someone and let them know. If you're already in therapy and you realize that you're planning someone, make sure you let your therapist know. And again, please don't kill yourself. Please just seek the help that you need. There's help for you. I think that's
absolutely
everything.
That's very strong statements. And I know everybody probably, you hear them every week from us. They can become, repetitive because you hear them every single week, but they're so important. That's why we say them every single week, because who knows, that might be the one week that someone's listening and they need to hear it. Yeah. So keep an eye on each other. Take care of each other. Take care of yourself. Keep breathing. And have a great week.